Here on First Things First, time for some stories to start your morning. Jazz Thunder from last night. Russell Westbrook was so good. Shot 45 points. OKC needed every single one of those points after trailing by 25 in the third quarter. Nick, how impressed were you with Russell Westbrook?
I don't know how you could not be wildly impressed. Over the final 20 minutes of this basketball game, he outscored the opponent by himself. First time in at least recorded NBA history that a team was down by at least 25 points in the third quarter and went into the fourth quarter not trailing. That was powered by Russ's 23rd quarter points. Keeps the season alive. Now see if you can go win in Utah, and we can start talking about something, but you kept the season alive.
He turned around from it was going to be an awful day today. Man, Russell's a player killer, a coach killer. In that third quarter, changed the potential and arc of their season. Paul George, man, unpack your suitcase, man. You might have a few more games in OKC before you go off to the Lakers. So this was an amazing performance by Russ. Do whatever you can to get your team into the winning locker room, and that's what Russ did.
If they play one more game in Oklahoma City this year, they will play at least 3 more games in Oklahoma City this year. If they get to a Game 7, they're getting to the next round.
Hot take. The Rockets.
There you go. There goes Jenna.
The Rockets.
Lady killer.
The Rockets reminded
that sexy voice.
Everyone why they've been the best team all season long. They closed out the Timberwolves with a big win. I love you guys. The Beer led the way with 24 points and 12 assists. CC, what'd you make of Houston's performance last night?
It was nice. It was professional. They're starting to get back to the style. The first couple games, even in winning, not necessarily playing the way that we saw Houston playing. I love these getting other people involved. The combination, Harden, the center, Capella, and Chris Paul has been basically unbeatable, and that's what we saw in last night's game.
In games 4 and 5, the 2 biggest games of their season, they were in game 4 up 1 at the end of the half, game 5 down 4 at the end of the half, and then in those 2 third quarters combined, outscored Minnesota 80-35. 30-15 last night to put this game away. You were just waiting for the avalanche to come. It finally came in the third quarter. The Rockets are playing with an air of confidence, and they have something you can't pay money for, which is health. PJ Tucker is fine. Luke, your guy, CC, Luke, Richard, Mbah-a-Moute.
Yeah.
Like you say.
Yeah, Richard.
Like you say.
Yeah, my dude.
There you go. He's going to be back. By the time he's back, CC will be able to say his name, and they'll be the healthiest team in the NBA right now. So, I mean, that's where they're at. That's why right now they are still the favorites to win the title.
Probability not real high.
Oh, you mean, okay. Maybe he needs to be out longer than I thought.
Raptors, Wizards. The home team has won each game in this one. Toronto was home last night, so they won. Toronto takes a 3-2 series lead. DeMar DeRozan led the way with 32 points. Raptors will try and close out this series on Friday. That will be on the road, but I got me confidence. Nick, how impressive were the Raptors last night?
It was very impressive the way they finished. Because I thought Washington could steal this.
Yeah, and tightly contested game.
Absolutely. It's a tie game late in the fourth, and the Raptors go on, I think it was a 10-0 run or a 12-2 run to basically close this game out. DeRozan was excellent for them.
Yes.
And listen, I know Washington has talent, but they're the 8th seed. Toronto's had the best regular season in franchise history. Losing this series, you would have to blow up the team. You would have to make major changes. They now, of course, are guaranteed to, at worst-case scenario, have a Game 7 at home. They're in really good shape.
There's so many people that doubt the Raptors. That's what makes this impressive. But the truth be told, for the Raptors, it's been on the road for them, Jenna. They're going to have to get a win like this on the road. That's where they have, in the last 21 games, only won 5 of those. Getting it done at home, that's what they've done. If they want to be able to get that mark off of them, not being a postseason team, they got to be able to get a win in Washington.
One note for them moving forward, either in this round or the next. Your guy should be back. Fred VanVleet, one of their best bench players, their backup point guard. He might be back as early as Game 6. He's been missed in the 2 games they lost.
Instant offense coming off that bench.
Absolutely. He's been an important part of what they've done all year.
All right, last night, LeBron hit one of the biggest shots of his career. However, before the shot, LeBron had a big block on Victor Oladipo. Looked like it might have been goaltending. Here's what Oladipo had to say about the controversial non-call after the game.
I got a step on him. Felt like I even got grabbed on the way to the rim. It hit the backboard. Then he blocked it. It was a goaltend. I mean, it's hard to even speak on it. That layup is huge.
I definitely thought it was a goaltend. Of course, I didn't think it was a goaltend, man. I'm trying to make plays like that all the time, and I mean, he made a heck of a move, got me leaning right, and he went left, and I just tried to use my recovery speed and get back up there and play at the ball, and I was able to make a play.
All right, Chris, does Oladipo have a gripe here? And if so, how would that have affected the outcome of the game?
Well, he does have a gripe, but because as a shooter of the basketball, you've been taught to take the ball to the glass. If you're not going to dunk the basketball, you need to take the ball as close to the glass as possible, because if you can get the ball basically out of your hand and off the glass, it can't be defended. So they have to take the ball out of your hand when you're shooting the ball at the glass. Now, it was a bad call. It's something that can't be reviewed. Your coaches always try to tell you that these calls work themselves out. The game was tied. LeBron, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen after this with 3 seconds. LeBron made a great recovery. I like the way that he talked about it. He got him off balance. LeBron also knew that he could only go one way. Jeff Green was under the bucket, so if he was going to finish with his right hand, he could only finish on the right side. LeBron anticipated where he was going to go. Yep. Now, if I was going to critique Oladipo just a little bit, I would tell him to be a little more like LeBron. Because he finished with his right hand, he allowed LeBron to get closer to the ball. If he had finished with his left hand, the way LeBron does on his left side, his body would have given him a little more coverage, and he might have been able to get this in. So, yes, I think they should have called it. It definitely was a goaltending. It definitely hit off the backboard first. And as a shot maker and as a player, when you go up on the glass, if the ball has hit off the glass more so than anyone else in the arena.
This was a goaltend. But in real time, I didn't think it was. In real time, I thought LeBron Iguodala'd him. I thought it was another iconic block in LeBron's career. But once we saw the super slow motion replay, particularly the angle that we've been showing on camera here from when they came back from break, I saw, oh, got away with one. But you can't review it. Now, I'll tell you a play you can review, the play before that could have changed the game just as much, which was Cavs have the ball in a tie game.
Right.
LeBron is driving baseline, getting ready. I kick it out to the corner on a pass, and Thaddeus Young knocks the ball out of his hands. It hits the baseline and then comes back up and hits LeBron in the elbow. The referees did not realize it went out of bounds initially, and then they called it out of bounds off LeBron. So right here, that's out of bounds. That's Cavs' ball. The refs don't see that.
The ball should have been dead once it hit the out of bounds.
Right there.
It shouldn't come up. It shouldn't be. Did it hit off his arm?
Course.
Did it go off of him? That wouldn't have mattered.
Wouldn't have mattered. And that, unlike the Oladipo play, is reviewable. The referee's inside 2 minutes, out of bounds call. You can see who that went off of. They didn't review it. So both teams got an unlucky break by the refs in the final. That's not a play from midway through the third quarter. It's the possession before. The same situation with the ball, tie game, trying to win it. Now, fortunately, LeBron hit a three. It's a different story. If LeBron misses that shot, then it's a much bigger controversy. I understand you can argue, would they have still taken that shot? Would they have still run that play? But if that game goes to overtime, the missed goaltending call is a much bigger deal. If the Cavs win by 2, it's an even bigger deal. The fact that LeBron ended the game on a 3 and Oladipo missed out on a 2 makes this less of a controversy. But it wasn't, to me, an egregious error by the refs. It was the wrong call, but it was a tough call to make in real time.
It was the wrong call.
Yes,
all right? And they didn't do it because it was LeBron. It was just a bang-bang play that they end up making a mistake. But your coaches keep telling you over the course of a game, these calls are going to work themselves out. So there's no need to be pouting. The referees are human. They're not robots. They do make mistakes. And you could see with Cleveland getting a bad call against them before that, where they didn't get a chance to get a shot because it was called off of LeBron. And Oladipo was right. This was a goaltending, and they should have been up by 2 at that point with 3.2 to go.
With 3 seconds left.
All right, we got some new news to pass along. The NFL Draft is tonight live on Fox Cleveland. As I'm sure we all know by now, it's first on the board, although it feels like they've been on the board for like 8 years. As of this morning, reports were that the Browns hadn't yet decided between Josh Allen and Baker Mayfield, but Adam Schefter is now just reporting that there is a growing belief from head coaches and GMs around the league that Cleveland will take Baker Mayfield with that first overall pick in the NFL Draft. CC, Let's break this down a bit. Would Baker Mayfield be the right pick for the Browns at number 1?
I don't think he's the wrong pick. And if he was 3 inches taller, he's 6'1" now. If he was 6'4", even if he was 6'3",
he'd be the consensus.
He would be the consensus.
Far and away.
Just based on how he threw the ball, what he accomplished at Oklahoma, the consistency for which he played, not only his sophomore season, his junior season, his senior season. He's the only guy that was a finalist for the Heisman Trophy in those 3 seasons. And I like the Baker Mayfield story. And it's an intriguing story. Coming out of high school, he had a hard decision to make. And it was to take a lesser scholarship somewhere else or to walk on at Texas Tech. And him and his dad almost got into a fight. He walked away from his dad. His dad wanted him to stick in there, not take the easy way, the scholarship, but to walk on at Texas Tech and try to fight to earn himself a scholarship. His dad believed in his ability more than he did at that time, and that was the conflict. He finally went back to the house after going through the neighborhood and everything, went back home and was like, you know something, Dad? I'm going to listen to you. I'm not going to take the easy way out. I'm going to walk on at Texas Tech. I believe in my ability. I believe in what you're telling me. All right? And that's what he did. Went to Texas Tech, ended up leaving there, going to Oklahoma to build himself into potentially being the first player in the draft. Now, there's some things off the field that you might not like. It's not clean. But to me, he hadn't done the type of things, if he is a franchise quarterback, that I would not take him. And also, in talking to the football administration people at Oklahoma, when Oklahoma was playing at Ohio State, I met Baker on the field, talking to the football people around there, talking to his teammates. He is a leader of men, and that's the thing you have to go from college to pro. College, those aren't grown men. Now, they think they're grown, and they're to the legal age, but they're grown men in the NFL. Everyone's grown. People paying mortgages. People got several kids. There's a lifestyle that they're accustomed to. So in trying to be a leader of them, I think it's totally different than trying to be the big man on campus that it takes in college.
If Baker's the number 1 pick of this draft, it won't be for him, hopefully, the end of the story, but it will be the midway point of what could be one of the greatest and most unlikely sports stories of my lifetime. A guy who has to walk on and not 1, but 2 schools. Then going into, after being a Heisman finalist, his second to last year at Oklahoma, setting the all-time college football quarterback rating record, not being considered anywhere near first overall pick. He wasn't considered a first-round pick going into his last year at Oklahoma. Going from that to winning the Heisman, breaking his own quarterback rating record. But when that year ended, he was considered clearly the 4th quarterback of this class. He was closer to the Lamar Jackson area of the draft than he was the Sam Darnold, Josh Rosen area of this draft. If the story then goes to number 1 pick of the draft, we're talking about an unprecedented meteoric rise over the last 5 years. Now, if I were Cleveland, I don't think I'd have the guts to do it. If I were Cleveland, I'd go with the safest guy. I think Rosen's going to be the best, but the safest is Darnold. And I just don't want to have a guy
safest only in your mind.
Of course. Yeah, I'm just speaking for me. I'm saying if I were Cleveland, some teams have the luxury of saying, who has the best chance of being an all-pro? If I'm Cleveland, I'm like, man, who has the worst chance of being a bust? That's who I would go with because they haven't had a quarterback in so long. But this would be an amazing story if Baker ends up going number 1.
So if Baker goes number 1, then sometime between when he graduated, when he played his last game, and this morning, something changed for the Cleveland Browns. What do you think it was like? What do you think weighed more heavy for them? Do you think it was more the interview, knowing his personality, his leadership skills? Was it the combine? Was it the personal workouts that he might have done? What do you think it was that actually changed his draft status from being probably the 4th or 5th quarterback to possibly the number 1?
I'm getting to know the prospect. That becomes very important, who that person is in those rooms. Is he commanding enough? Can he express enough what he knows about football, how much he cares about the game, and some of the smoke? You know, how much of it is real? There's actually some fire there with the smokes? You know, him running from the cops, that's not a good look. When you start to go back and investigate these things, you're like, wow, okay, I have a comfort level. Also, Josh Allen had a tremendous head start on him. From Cleveland, from late November, they had Josh Allen number 1 on their board.
right.
And he seems like he's made up the ground.
Yeah,
this would be crazy.
All right, coming up, did LeBron just turn the entire NBA playoffs upside down? We're definitely not being dramatic. It's next on First Things First.
He might have.
Huh?